Hey guys, the Comps here. A little while back, I recorded a video on some tips and tricks in my general system on getting to Legend, and a lot of people seem to enjoy that. So today I'm going to go over a few other things that I didn't mention in that video about my general strategy and just some tips and tricks on laddering and trying to get to that end goal that everyone wants to get to. So just to summarize, in my last video, I talked about how you need to stay detached from the game because tilting is very common, and so you need to do something else while you're laddering, and that way you don't get so emotionally invested in your games, you don't get so angry or upset when you lose, etc. Next, I talked about how you should play the same or a few of the same 2-1 decks, because if you switch between decks a lot, you're not going to get as much practice with those decks. It's also going to lead you to tilt, so you want to play the same deck. And finally, I really emphasize not tilting, because once you lose a lot and you go into sort of self-destructive spree, it takes a lot to dig yourself out of that. So since I recorded that video, I've now hit Legend on NA 9 times, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about my system. And again, like I said in the last one, I'm not like better than any other Hearthstone player. I just, like, the average player is, I have no qualities that the average player doesn't also have. I think it's just the system and the time that I've put in that let me get to this, so all of you guys can get there too. So just to expand on what I say, so for the early ranks, well, you still have win streak up to rank 5. To maximize the amount of time, or the amount of time you have to later get to Legend from rank 5, I found it's best to play control decks in the early ranks while you still have win streak. And the reason for that is normally people say play aggro decks, because even though control decks have a higher win percentage, aggro decks are going to get you there faster because the games take less time. But the fact that you're getting 2 stars per win as long as you keep winning balances that out in the favor of the control decks, since the control decks do have a higher win rate. So while you still have a win streak, if there's a particular control deck that you can play pretty well, like Handlock, Control Warrior, even like a more mid-range deck like Druid, I would say play those against rather than an aggro deck, because an aggro deck like Zoo or Face Hunter has a lot more variance and a lot more games it takes to get to the median win rate. Whereas a control deck is going to have a higher win percentage, so it's going to be easier to win streak up to rank 5, and that's going to give you a lot more time to get from rank 5 to Legend. That's really what a lot of people have problem with, is that they don't have enough time, because a month isn't long enough for them to get there. Maybe they don't play enough a day, or maybe they just they need more time. So by giving yourself a greater amount of time to get to Legend, you're making it easier on yourself. So that's why I would recommend playing a more controlling deck while you still have a win streak. Moving on, don't think of like, so when you're, say, rank 2 and you're a Black Knight, and you just hit it and you have 1 star, and then you lose a game and you have no stars, a lot of people find that there's a lot of pressure on that next game you play, because if you lose it, you feel like you're getting demoted, because you are, and that puts a lot of pressure on that game, and more people actually end up losing that game than they would like a different game. They tend to make more mistakes. So the important thing is, try to think of it as not you have no stars in rank 2, but rather it's the same thing as having 5 stars in rank 3, and it's just like you're playing your promotion match. And people tend to win more of their promotion matches because it's a positive feedback loop, whereas people tend to lose more of their demotion matches because it feels negative and there's more pressure. So try to think of that as having like 5 stars in rank 3 rather than having no stars in rank 2, and you'll find that if you can get yourself to think that way, you'll start winning more because there's less pressure. And it's important not to set too much pressure on yourself in general. Even pro players make some mistakes, and they're very good, they're the best of the best, but when they're playing tournaments with a lot of money in the line or a lot of BlizzCon points in the line, they tend to make more mistakes, whether it's roping more and not getting to finish everything, like with Patron Warrior, or just missing some sort of silence play or something like that. They tend to make more mistakes because there's a lot more pressure on them. And people like us, the average everyday ladder players, we already make a lot of mistakes, and if we're under a lot of pressure, we're going to make way too many mistakes to ever climb at an efficient rate. So it's important to not put too much pressure on yourself. It's just a game. You're doing it for fun, and you are trying to get that achievement, but it's supposed to be fun, so just have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Play a deck that you like, although you want to play a deck that's good also to try to hit Legend. Another thing I see a lot of people do is set like daily goals for themselves, like today I want to get to rank 7, the next day I want to get to rank 6, and if I do this every day, then I'll hit Legend in no time. I think that's actually a trap, because by saying to yourself, today I want to hit rank 6, like if you don't hit rank 6 that day, in like whatever time you've allotted to play Hearthstone, then you're either going to be really disappointed with yourself and you're going to try harder the next day and put more pressure on yourself, or you're going to try to play more and then you're going to exhaust yourself more and you might fall even further and then you'll be even further from your goal. And it's sort of just like it's a lose-lose situation. You'll be further from your goals, so you'll try to play more and you'll be more frustrated, and you'll get even further, and you'll find you're running out of time and things like that. So I would say don't set goals for yourself. Just try to play and be distracted, like I've said before, but just play the game, and you'll find that you're like you're climbing ranks in no time. And you want to not even think about like what rank you are. Like don't like get so attached to like, oh, I'm rank 2. This is my number. I'm rank 2. Let's get to rank 1. Just play and do your best to win, but don't get too attached to the ranks and number system, because if you do, again, you associate too closely with it, you become emotionally attached, and you put more pressure on yourself. So you want to be very detached. Another thing is, another trap I see people run into, when you net deck, and this is more of like a technical thing than like a mental thing, but when people net deck and they look for decks, you want to definitely net deck from like ladder decks or decks from articles, like from TempoStorm.com. I see a lot of people like see like Firebat or someone else playing this like crazy cool deck in a tournament. It's all teched out and has all these weird cards, and you see them do super well with it, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. I want to play that on ladder. And you find yourself doing really bad. It's because of the formats of tournament decks, where you get to pick and counter pick and ban. A lot of decks in tournaments are designed to beat specific decks, but they have specific tech cards for the tournament meta. And when you play them on ladder, they're actually awful. So when you like look up a deck online, make sure it's something someone's playing on ladder to good success. Don't have it be like a tournament deck, because then you fall into the trap of playing that tournament deck and losing a lot with it. And lastly, I just want to say to you guys that Hearthstone is a very mental game. And this is a pretty cliche piece of advice, both in Hearthstone and anywhere, but the important thing is, since you're playing as much against yourself as you are against other players, you need to, believe in yourself and believe that you can do it. So don't think of Legend as this impossible goal. Just think of it as something you'll eventually reach if you're following these steps, playing a good deck and trying the ladder actively every day. So, lastly, I just want to leave off, like, I've hit Legend 9 times on any ladder, and again, I don't think I'm particularly great at Hearthstone or particularly smart or anything. I just got to, I had the opportunity to put in a little bit of time, found some net decks, I started playing, and I started hitting Legend, and I think really anyone can do that, anyone watching this video. So give it your best shot, guys. Check out some of the decks on TempoStorm.com if you're looking for decks to net deck. Watch some streams from good players, especially our TempoStorm players, things like that. Look for their decks, look at their plays, study up, and you can hit Legend in no time. Thank you guys for watching. If you didn't watch the first part in this installment, I tried to summarize it a little bit, but there's lots of good information there too, so check that out on TempoStorm.com or the TempoStorm YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Definitely check out TempoStorm.com for some decks and things like that, and I will see you guys later.